My speaker is not working. It certainly is working. Effie. Cindy. Looking good, Cindy.
You always see me haggy.
You always claim you're haggy. I never see you as haggy. Never, ever. Mr. Curley, glad you could join us.
Sorry, I'm last minute here. Was dealing with a issue.
Oh man, today's been nothing but issues for me.
I know the feeling. I'll be right back.
Well, he kind of was a flash. Okay, I'm sorry. It's just going to take me a minute to play a little whack-a-mole here.
So I watched the recording to the last one, Gary, and it wasn't pulling people up on stage. So I think we need to pin them moving forward.
A spotlight is, the pinning and spotlighting is the same thing, but I was spotlighting them for everybody. So that should work. But I think the problem was the way you had your view set because you were host.
Oh, okay. My bad. All right, let's kick this thing off.
Yeah, give me just 1 second. I just want to get rid of the moles, the rodents. I hate them. And give everybody a minute or two. Where?
Oh, Mike's got a Boston hat on. Let's kick him out.
Who? Oh, Matthias. Boston. You don't like bat? Was that Boston? Boston.
From Boston.
Boston. Can't get that from here. No, that's Maine. The lowercase a is here.
Oh, Luisa's here. What's up, Luisa? Haven't seen you in a while. Lionel's here.
Hi. Yeah, I've been very busy, sorry, with some other
Don't let it
stuff.
happen again, Luisa.
Mm.
Kalila's back. What's up, girl? What else we got in here? Effie's here. Hi, Effie. We haven't met yet. I'm excited to meet you. What else we got? A lot of new faces here. Love it.
Hey, Patrick. This is Kalila.
Hey, Kalila.
Quick, well, I have a bit of a situation. I actually have a deal that I'm in the middle of trying to negotiate.
Okay.
And the person that was helping me negotiate, I've been having a hard time getting them on the phone to help me negotiate the contract. So I'm kind of trying to figure out how can I finish tying up the deal or whatnot,
Right.
because
Can we-
it's go ahead.
Yeah, let's do this. We're gonna intro Effie here in a second, and we're gonna kind of talk about what we're gonna be covering in the meeting, and then what we'll do at the end is we'll go over like general Q&A, if that's cool.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
So yeah, hang out with us for a little bit, and then we're gonna just hammer questions when they come.
Got it.
Kalila's trying to be the program today, huh?
If you let one get in there, they'll just take control of the whole thing, right?
I know.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Okay.
That's okay.
I think I got
Like
it
that
set up here. Welcome, everybody. First, I'd like to wish Patrick Hurley a very happy birthday today.
Me here.
Appreciate you.
Should we
Happy
force
birthday,
him to
man.
listen to us singing
Happy
on Zoom?
birthday.
No, let's not.
How old is Patrick?
40. It sounds very
big
foreign.
one.
Yeah.
That was a long
Um,
time ago.
It's it's one of those decades. You feel like you're at the top of the hill now, right? It's all downhill from here.
It sounds strange to say, I'll be honest. Yeah. Thank you guys for the birthday wishes. I appreciate it.
Right? Why is it that those Big 10 numbers freak people out, that they mean so much?
30 for me
Oh
was
my God, I'm 30.
30 for me. I felt like frantic, like I needed to do something with my life. You know what I mean? But 40, I feel chill, to be honest. I feel happy.
That's because you've had a 6-figure month. Best
That's
birthday
true.
present you could have given yourself, my friend.
Yeah, that does help. Yeah.
So it also, everybody knows Mike, who's become a regular host participant here with Patrick's team. And I invited my friend Effie Colbines to join us today. And we thought we'd do a little soft skill stuff. And I've just watched Effie, how long have you been part of the Sub2 community?
I've been in now for about 16 months.
16 months, and everybody knows Effie. This
I
woman
only
knows
had
how to
$100.
network. What?
I only had $100 for everybody who said that.
Yeah, right.
In the same bracket as Patrick.
So I just think Effie's a natural at networking and building rapport with people. She's fearless networker. So you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, geez. Well, I'm very, very happy to be here. And thank you. Thank you. And I'm privileged to call Gary a friend, and a very, very knowledgeable person in our field. I actually started real estate when I was just a little girl, because my mom couldn't speak English. So I had to translate while she wanted to purchase properties. And I was like, I don't want to do that. And she's like, tough, you're doing it. So off I went. And before I knew it, I was loving it. And I have a real love for properties. I helped her purchase 3 properties in 3 years. And my father had already purchased one, and then they bought one more after. So they had 5 properties. And I have been involved in maybe about 12 or 14 purchases throughout my young life. I'm not quite 40 yet, Patrick, but we'll see as I get a little older. Anyways, the point being, I've been involved as I can be. And then I joined Sub2. And Sub2 is mind-blowing, to say the least. And I've been learning and moving along. I haven't done anywhere near as much as I want to do in Sub2. I have done some Gator lending and some private money lending. And I've had about 14 deals that have all fallen through. But that's okay, because I know it will happen. And also, part of the reason that I am not as far along as I would like is I was in Canada during the time that I started. And it was during COVID. And I couldn't just, I'm a dual citizen, but I couldn't just come back here. I now live in Chicagoland to start my bank accounts and my LLCs and, you know, that sort of thing. So I did what I could do, which was network. And I really, really, at the beginning, I felt like, oh, darn, all I can do is talk to people, you know, and then I was like, oh, this guy's interesting. This girl's interesting. Oh, look what they're doing. And I started learning in a different dimension than simply learning from Pace, because Pace, of course, is my mentor, but learning from each other was a different kind of learning. And lo and behold, before long, I had, people connecting with me and wanting to know who I knew that did this or that had that. And that it has been one of my big strengths. So now I'm negotiating being in business with two people, with separate people. And, I know that it's only a matter of time before I have numerous properties. So that's my story. Oh, and that's my
14,
kitty cat.
14 deal and he's such a handsome cat. Uh-huh. How old is that cat?
That cat is 16 and a half years old.
15 and a half. So we know Effie's a really good cat mom.
I am.
Yeah, Effie and I have that in common. I'm a good cat mom too. Anyway, 14 fall throughs. That means that you've got a base hit at least 14 times, right?
Oh, yes.
How many
And I
students have, right? And how many people in the mentorships, spend 6 months or a year without getting a base hit? So you can't fail if you're not trying, right?
100%.
I don't think so. I think you
And you
can't fail
certainly
forever.
can't succeed if you're not trying.
Right.
So
I feel-
how many friends do you have in the mentorship? Just curious.
I think I have the only one that really counts, and that's you.
Oh, you're so lucky.
Oh,
No, I'm just kidding. I have a few others that count too.
Look,
Um,
I removed from the meeting today at least 8 of those bots. And if any of you are responsible for them, I just want to say this. How dare you occupy spaces in this meeting when you know we've only got 100 seats and we're just off a fresh elephant challenge and you're preventing other people from being here that might want to be here. And Mike, do me a favor, you have co-host permissions. Would you remove any if you happen to see them pop in?
I'm not sure what I'm looking for, but
Well, it'll say like
Oh.
Otter note taker or automate. They at least identify
people
themselves.
recording.
Yeah, they're
I see.
they take up
Otter.
Otter's the most common one, but it's not the only one. They take up a lot of seats. So
Yeah, guys, if you're using, I've used OtterBot in the past too, and that's just like a way to record the meeting with like an Otter AI assistant. These meetings are accessible after the fact, so there's no need to do that. Just be the only person in here. Don't have a AI bot sent in, and you'll get a recording later. Okay.
right, they're all on YouTube. All of them go to YouTube. So and you can record them from YouTube, can't you? If you know, I mean, you can download them. We haven't prevented download.
There's a way.
Yeah,
but or just stream it. Just watch it there.
just
There's
stream
no
them.
need
Yeah,
to.
why fill up your hard drive, right?
Yeah, and let me add to that, guys. Why is that important? Besides Gary being a little neurotic, that's one of the reasons I like him. Is
But
one
we're
of the-
both Virgos, Patrick.
One of the things that I do regret coming into the mentorship is I'm a very driven person, and I've started several businesses that were successful. And so I've always tried to take things on myself, right? And so this does apply to what we're talking about today. We're talking about networking and squatting up with people. And, in the beginning, I didn't do that as fast as I should have. And the other thing that I didn't do was keep coming back to the meetings and asking questions that were applicable to the obstacles and struggles that I was experiencing at those times. And so if you send an AI bot to these meetings, you don't have that opportunity, guys. You don't have the opportunity to raise your hand and ask a question, just like we got in the beginning of this Zoom. That's a very serious question with a specific obstacle. And that's that feedback loop, guys, that feedback loop of I failed, or I'm at a roadblock. I'm going to go to the meeting and ask the question as to what they would do. The more you do that, the faster you're going to accelerate your business and the more you're going to get out of this. Okay. So that's why Gary brings all of that up.
Absolutely, freaking lutely. So, Effie, how do you build rapport with people? What do you think are the most important aspects of how you go out about meeting people and start building rapport with them? Because we have a lot of shy types here that we need to crack their shells.
Okay. Well, I think everybody has something important to give, and you should not be your own worst enemy. Instead, you should be your own best friend. And think about what you would say to your best friend. Would you say, well, we'll just wait here and maybe some people will approach us? Or would you say, get out there, go on. Nothing's going to happen, that's terrible. Just go out and connect. I have a lot of people reaching out to me, and I always try my best to connect because I don't know who I haven't met yet if I don't take the time. So I like to listen and find out where they're at in their journey and help as much as I can. And you might think, well, gee, if you haven't purchased any assets and only lended since you've come in, what can you help with? Well, I can help with a lot because I know what it's like to begin. I know what it's like to feel tied up because I couldn't come down to the States because of that COVID, and I couldn't really get going. So, I encourage people to look inwards and know what is it they want to do. And once they know what to do, I can almost always direct them to a certain Zoom or a certain person. So the more people you know, it's about people. Real estate doesn't happen without people. So for me, it's been very, very rewarding. And now I'm at a point where, similar to Patrick being at 40, he's like right there. Well, instead of looking to go down, I'm going up again. So the point being, I have a lot of people who are ready to do business with me, and I believe in JVing. If you guys are only working on your own, then you only have your own brain. You only have your own energy, there is no synergy. I feel that as one person, I can't do everything I want to do. I want to do a lot, not a little, a lot. So by JVing with people, I can do that because I don't know everything. I'm not a wholesaler. Well, I can work with wholesalers. I don't do storage yet, but I know people who do, and I can JV with them. So that allows me to get very wide. And it doesn't mean that I still won't have to pay to build a team, my own team. I'm getting close to that now, but before long, you push yourself up by demanding more of your time and your brain, and your money. Make sure your money goes as far as you can. So, for me, it's all about relationships, whether it's in Gator or Sub 2 or out in the world, it's all got to do with relationships.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the reason that I'm here today, and so by the way, guys, I am not the strongest networker. I know what networking is at a high level, but I admittedly am not the strongest networker. Gary is a fantastic networker. In fact, the reason that Effie is here was his idea, right? Like, he's like, hey, Effie's going to be joining us. I was like, who's Effie, right? Actually, I knew who she was, but
What the effing are you talking about?
It's what's the FE, not who's the FE. It's what
I was aware of who you are, and let's
I'm just kidding.
let's shed some light on that, because what you're doing in the community is what a lot of people should be doing, and that's being like a squeaky wheel. Like, hey guys, let's network, right? Like, that's how Gary and I met. I posted, hey, I'm buying in Coachella Valley, and I put my number there, and he hit me up, and he's like, let's connect, and we got on a Zoom. And I had never met the guy. Now, did I want to get on that Zoom? Personally, it's not super comfortable for me. I wasn't very comfortable with it, but I was like, you got to do it, right? Sometimes you have to force yourself to do things that you're not necessarily strong at or want to do, because you never know where that conversation is going to take you. And like I've said on previous Zooms, guys, I would not be where I am today if it weren't for meeting Gary, right? And that was just from one networking event in my life. So imagine if you did that every month, right? Once a month, just once a month, it would skyrocket your business. I think I've got about 50 sub-2 students on my phone right now. And I'm not like I said, I'm not a strong networker, but I make sure to reach out. And if somebody reaches out to me, I say, great, let's chat. Here's one of the things that I want you guys to do right now. If you're taking notes, and if you're not, I don't know what you're doing here. You should be taking notes. And your notes should have two things. One is actions and insights. Well, it should be insights and actions. One of my first mentors taught me this. Whenever you're learning, everything that you have, every insight that you have should be attached to an action, because insights without actions are just nothing. It's nothing. It's just ideas, right? So from this meeting, guys, I want you to start writing down what you should be doing, how you should implement this stuff into your business, right? And networking should be one of those things. So meetups are great, guys. Like, I would highly recommend that you do meetups. I would highly recommend that you become a squeaky wheel and start posting. Hey guys, I'm in Wyoming, I'm in California, I'm in Nevada. I'm looking to wholesale, or I'm looking to do sub-2 deals, or I'm really good at marketing, or I'm really good at sales, or whatever it is. Lead with value and be a squeaky wheel and connect with people. And doing it in person. So when I tell people that I'm an introvert, most people are like, don't believe me, right? I've owned 2 gyms, I've owned a marketing agency, and I run a team now in acquisitions in California. I have done a ton of public speaking. I'm more comfortable with a mic on my hand and on a stage in front of thousands of people than I am walking up to a group who's in the middle of a conversation. Full stop. That's just how I am. So it takes energy for me to force myself to go to these meetups. But when I do, I come out of them energized, inspired, fired up. And I've got business cards in my hands that will make me more money. The last meetup that I went to, a guy stopped me because I was on the mic. I was asking questions to the investor that was giving the speech that day. And he's like, hey, I listened to your questions. Those are really good questions. And I'm a lender. I'm looking for investors just like you. And the guy gave me a card. I've got access to tons of cash in California with creative deals. And if I choose to do a flip, he's one phone call away. That would have never happened, guys, unless I forced myself to do something that I'm not naturally good at. Jason Lee, do you have a question that in regards to what we're talking about right now?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to reconfirm the networking.
Yeah.
Like, ever since I joined this Zoom, I've been just kind of connecting, and there's actually some people on this on the Zoom that I've really gravitated towards. And there's one baby elephant that reached out to me, Dylan. Like, we've been collaborating, and man, that guy's been killing it. Like, I don't have all the time in the world to do things on my own, but we've been just going back and forth, and just it's been helping, and we sharpen each other's swords by just going off each other. So I just want to reconfirm that.
I love it. And I'm probably going to absorb you too once you guys bring me a deal.
Yeah, we're definitely, that's our intention. And yeah, I even network with like Louisa. There's a lot of people in this challenge, and I'm always an open book. If anybody wants to reach out, I'm happy to try to provide any value that I can.
Love it.
So nobody knew that you're a Venus flytrap when the lights go out, huh?
So I've got 4 people on my team that are in acquisitions, and then I've got 1 disposition manager who's my partner. Every single one of those people, guys, joined my team through networking. They were either introduced to me by somebody that I already met through my own networking, or I networked with them and then they got on my team. 100%. I never put any ads out to hire people. That's how I built my team, guys. And like I said before, if it wasn't for Gary, like, none of this stuff that we have figured out over time would have happened. Like, Gary has been invaluable to us. And if it's creative in California, he's my guy. 100%.
So I reached out to you.
I can't remember who did what, but I know that I put I remember the post and it had my number on it. And I was basically looking for creative deals in Coachella Valley. And you're like, I live there. And so we connected. And then you found out that I grew up there. And then we we started talking shop, and you were like, let's make something out of this elephant challenge. And that's when the first team was born.
So exactly, engage. You got to engage with people.
Totally.
Mike, Mike, did you introduce yourself to me? I know I connected you.
Yeah.
You
I was gonna piggyback and toot your horn again too, Gary, because yeah, I know that these calls, when there's a lot of people on here, like I'm looking right now, it's 71, right? And it can be hard to communicate and like network with people when there's a huge group like this. So not all of us are in sub 2, but if you are, you know that there's calendars and calendars of different meetings that go on throughout the week. And it can be hard when you're jumping into those. There's a lot of people talking, and it might be intimidating because concepts are flying over your head, and there's, you're not really sure where to jump in. And I was kind of at the point where I was going to a lot of those calls, and it was like information overload, like drinking water out of a fire hydrant. Just didn't know where to jump in, didn't know who to talk to.
Yeah.
And then after work one day, I hopped onto I think it was Deal Hub call. And it was just me and Gary. Gary was holding the call up and was waiting for people to join. And I just hopped in and got to have like a one-on-one conversation with him. And I almost didn't even join the call. I was like, I don't really feel like it, but let's just go on and see what I can learn. And it was Gary and I got to spend time kind of expressing some concerns and some issues I was going through. And Gary said, stop all that. The way that you get successful at this is to work with other people that are doing the work and are successful at it, and work with them, right? And that's when Gary introduced me to Patrick. So Gary's a huge connector, and you never know what call is going to kind of lead to the next door opening for you guys. So always put in the time and the energy and the effort, and you don't know what'll happen through it. So.
Hey, look, I'll tell you what my secret was. Oh, do you got Effie? Go.
Well, I was going to say, I also reached out to Gary in our transaction coordinating training way back yonder when Caleb did it. I really loved the questions that Gary asked, and I reached out to him. And he is my man in California also. If I need something, he's the one that I go to. I'd also like to answer a question that thank you. That Cindy Zerlin asked a little earlier. She had said, well, what if you're not a sub 2 student? How do you connect? And I'd just like to say, Cindy, that the internet is a great place to start. I belong to a number of Facebook groups, and way before I joined PACES, there I belong to Realtors for Landladies, Realtors for Women, Realtors, Real Estate in Vancouver, which is where I was. So if you just go into Facebook and if it's wholesaling, you type in wholesaling. If it's fix and flip, you put in fix and flip. What is it that you're interested in? And you're going to see a bunch of groups, and look at them and start joining and see what the threads are about. And usually they will have some kind of get together. I'm in Chicagoland here, and there are a lot of things in Chicago, and I don't go to all of them, but I go to some, and they're not necessarily sub 2. So as long as they're related with real estate, or if you want to be a lender or, find money, then you want to search for that. And whatever your interest is, just search and just do the overview at the beginning to see what you think. And then when you're ready, just go to a couple of them. You don't like them? So what? You tried something. But there are a lot of resources out there. And because we have the internet, you can hone in on the ones that are interesting to you.
Yeah. And so one thing that Mike said that kind of sparked something that I didn't touch on. And so earlier I said, Gary's a really good networker, right? And how do I know that? I know that because he connects people, and because he connects me with people, I want to reciprocate that and bring him deals, right? Like when I think about bringing somebody a deal, I want to bring Gary a deal because he's always thinking about what I need in my business and trying to connect people to me. I've been in networking events, and most of them are like, here's my card. And then they give you their elevator pitch, right? And then you're sitting there listening to them talk about what they're there for. right? They're there for themselves. They want something out of the meeting. There's an intention there. But real networking done at a high level is, tell me about yourself. What is it that you do? What are you looking for? And then you go, oh, you know what? I know Effie. Effie's actually doing that too, or she's looking for that thing. Come here, let me introduce you to Effie. You guys would be perfect to hang out together. That's what networking is. And then when you do that, whenever you understand what I'm looking for, you're going to think, you know what? Patrick hooked me up with Effie. He's actually looking for that thing. I'm going to help him out. That's what networking is, guys. That's true networking. So I bring that up because at this point, I'm getting dozens of people hitting me up daily on my DMs, and they're like, hey, I want to connect. Cool. Like, give me more. Lead with value. What is it that you have to know yourself? Number one, what kind of person are you? And I'm looking over my bookshelf because this is a book that Pace recommended, Rocket Fuel. Okay.
It's a great book.
This is a fantastic book, guys. I picked this book up. I'll put a link in the description when I post this video. I'm not getting paid for it, but guys, this breaks down visionaries and integrators. And if you're one or the other, because you're usually one or the other. And when you bring a visionary and an integrator together, you get rocket fuel. And my disposition manager, it's funny, we're the exact opposite. I'm a visionary introvert. He's an extrovert integrator. And like our business is on fire right now because we're working together like that. So pick this up, know who you are, and lead with value. Hey, I'm good at marketing. Hey, I'm good at sales. Whatever it is, that value you can bring. And then I want to connect with you because that gives us something to talk about, guys. Or if I'm not the guy for you, then I'm going to connect you with somebody else. But hitting people up and saying, hey, can we get on the phone? Guys, what's the likelihood of me getting on the phone with you and my entire calendar is blocked out and you haven't led with value? I want to help you, but you're not giving me or anybody else incentive to network with you. Get rocket fuel, figure out what you are, lead with value, and start becoming a squeaky wheel, guys.
All right,
Luxley has a
warning,
question. Luxley,
warning. I just want to interject a little warning here. Rocket Fuel is an excellent book. I highly recommend you read it, but do not take that test too seriously. It does not define you. You define you. I see way too many people take that, I'm this, I'm that. No, you're what you want to be. This is telling you how you test right now. Maybe it's not who you're evolving it to becoming. So I see people wounded by taking these kind of, you're this type test. There are much more sophisticated tests available. What do they call them? Enneagrams, or there's way more sophisticated personality type testing out there if you look for it on the internet, that you could learn more about yourself. Even the one that leads to yellow, red, green, and blue people, and there's these are, just remember this, books and these systems, and this is the way people make money. So my biggest warning to you is, do not let this define you. You're the only one who can define you. Now, I want to amplify something that Patrick said. Bringing value with you. When I joined Pace's mentorship more than 3 years ago, when there were only a couple hundred of us, now there's thousands and thousands, and like 11,000, somebody said yesterday. I haven't checked. I made a commitment that I was going to be a top contributor to our private group, that I was going to at least once every weekday go in there and bring value to people by answering questions or posting something that people could learn from. And I've held true to that for more than 3 years. I've been consistently a top contributor. I mean, for years, the first 2 years, I think I was in the top 5% or 10% or top
before
5.
all the clickbait.
All right. But my point was, people respond to that.
Right.
They over and over again, oh, this guy's really bringing it to the group, and people start reaching out and they ask to be your friends. You
Right.
don't have to start, hey, you know, just come and bring value, and people will reach out to you. Hey, I want to know you. I bet I have more friends in Sub2 group than just about anybody else. And when
Is that a
Patrick says he's
challenge?
got 50 Sub2 students in his phone, there's at least 500 or 600 in here.
I
Oh
believe
my
it.
God, now I'm
Please.
gonna have to count.
At least. You can't count them all.
Nope.
You just can't. But and you know, just in text alone, we had a recent Pace gave everybody a homework exercise that you had to have 50 friends in Facebook, and that meant more than just, you know, messaging them or texting them. But everybody who texts me, I have more than text with. I have major relationships with, and I could have gone through my phone log to figure out how many days would it take to find 50. Now, it took 1 month to find 50 in the text. If I had done the phone log, it would have been less. My problem with the phone log is that I'm a little shaky, and all it takes is a slight shake and I delete them by accident, and I don't want to do that. So I'm afraid to touch it. I wish I could put it on low sensitivity, but I'm like that. Instead of scrolling, I'm deleting. I do that with the shopping cart at Sam's Club too. I have to be really careful because the way when I touch them, I seem to make them go away. And that's the last thing I want to do. But you know, I just dial back, you know, less than a month in my call log, and I would see more than 50 Sub2 students in that list. In fact, 90% of my business, my livelihood, comes from Sub2 students. And that transformation happened over the course of a year or two.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, I'd like that repeated, a year or two.
yeah.
So
Right.
guys, this idea of coming into real estate and thinking after 3 months, you're gonna be making a lot. You're actually gonna be lucky if you've done even one. It takes time, takes a lot of time, and that's okay because it's well worth it because you keep building on things. So, you know, but I like the fact that you said a year or two because it does take time.
Well, it was a transition into a different business role. And at the same time, you know, I deliberately focused on spending a year creating a business model that catered specifically to Sub2 students
So Aaron has,
and other investors.
sorry to interrupt you. Aaron has a really good question in the side
Yeah.
chat.
How do you
Love
bring
the idea
value?
of adding value. Do you have any tips for someone who's, this is a really good question. Do you have any tips for somebody who's new and isn't sure the best way that they can bring value? When a person is not sure what they're good at, how can they bring what can they bring as value to others? So that's a fantastic question. So we've said this in other Zooms before, guys. The most important skill is consistency, right? Consistently taking action. So if somebody hit me up, Aaron, and you DM'd me and you were like, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm new, but I'll tell you this, I'm the hungriest person and I'll take more action and I'll outwork anybody you meet. I'll be like, I got to meet this Aaron, right? I'm going to get on the phone with this person. And I've said that before. I will take somebody who's consistent and hungry. Those are the main criteria to join my team, over skill, over articulation, over the ability to underwrite, over experience, all of that. I want somebody who shows up day in and day out. So Aaron, what I would say is be honest, be genuine, and tell them that you want to help. You're fired up, you're passionate about real estate, and you want to stay consistent. Okay, that's what I would say.
I have a slightly different take on that. All right.
Let's hear it.
There's lots of ways to bring value. Being consistent is important to everything you do in life, building relationships, going to work, all of that. Consistency matters. Absolutely. But bringing value is, there are lots of ways to bring value. You can bring knowledge. You can help people become creative and think. But there's lots of ways to bring people value. You can help comfort people when they're sad. Some people are really good at that. There are a few rock star students that bring incredible value helping people with their mindset.
Yeah.
What's your thing? You know, what's your superpower?
Yeah, and I want to add to that too. That's you know, this is a great conversation. You're making me think about things and sparking like what I think about when people hit me up. And when I teach sales as a problem solving exercise, right? So when you're talking to somebody about their business and growing it, a great question to ask them is, what obstacles are you facing right now? And you can reveal kind of what they're going through, and maybe you can fill in the blanks and jump in and help them with that, right? Or maybe it's somebody who's new and they're looking for somebody to squat up. You know, Aaron, you're probably not the only one who's thinking that thought. Should we let Luxley come over here and ask his question? This poor guy has been sitting here for 20 minutes now. He's got a
Don't
question.
take us off track, Lux.
Better be related to what we're talking about, Luxley.
No, I don't know, but no, I just wanted to help emphasize what you guys been saying. I mean, I've been in the business for over 30 years. I've been in and out of it. And networking is probably one of the top things that helped me with the success I've had. You know, strangers. I go to meetings, I meet a guy, I have a deal, I pitch it, we partner on it. He makes money, I make money. I don't know him, he doesn't know me. And a lot of times, we don't even have stuff in writing, which is a bad idea. But, you know, it works for me. As long as we do what we say we're going to do, it all works out fine. But you have to be persistent at it, which is key. As a matter of fact, talking about consistency, the house I'm in now, I sent a postcard to a lady about another house she was selling. And I've been in touch with her for 2 years. I was in the islands, she was here. And I end up buying this with a lease option from her. So over time, I've been with her. She had several things in her life, and I was always there every month. I spoke with her, and she gave me a great deal on this house. And Gary, I gotta get with you both, you and Patrick. I just received from this class, one of the elephants sent me a list with 12 properties, all owner financing in Central Florida. I haven't had a chance to look at them. I just received it today. So, you know, networking. The first meeting, I put my name and number out there. He contacted me. We had a few conversations. He called me today and said, I might have something you might want to look at. So
How'd you get the plug in there?
Network with everyone.
Luxley, this cash is burning a hole in my pocket. Why don't you send me those deals?
I will. That's what.
Yeah, you got to submit them on the form, but let's not go there yet. We're not done talking about what we wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay.
So guys, real fast, I want to jump in and then I'll let Gary take the reins again. Guys, actions are everything, right? What you're doing moving forward is everything. It's going to change your trajectory, right? It's going to make sure that it's going to dictate whether or not you're successful or not. So the insights that you're getting from this, you should be writing down actions. And one of the actions that I want you to consider is write down what value you have to give. Know yourself and identify those things. Write that down, guys. What can you bring to the table? Make a list. And what is it that you're trying to accomplish? What do you need? Because when you think about it, if you really think about it, everything in this life, this world is reciprocal. Money is just a symbol of energy, right? You've put something out there, you've given value to somebody or something, and you've gotten something back. And it's in the representation of monetary consideration. So what can you give, guys? And what do you want? Write those things down, because the more clarity you bring to that, the faster you're going to put the key in the lock and turn it.
My turn.
It certainly is. It's always your turn to interrupt
Always
me.
my turn. So one of the things that, bringing value, I think, if you think about just being a participant brings value.
Yep.
Giving other people, sharing ideas and the way you do things with other people, helping people. One of the ways I like to bring value is I like to help people maybe change their perspective, push them to think a little differently about a situation. Like just today, I've made a post that said,
That was good.
why is an agent's $20,000 commission less what did I say? Less valuable than, or more problematic than your $20,000 assignment fee?
I think you used the verb is questionable or something of that nature.
I don't know. I think I used problematic, or, why is that such an area? Because people are always complaining about real estate agents, and it triggered a discussion with a lot of people. I think at least 80, 90 people participated in that discussion. I haven't looked at it since this morning, and it brought out lots of new ideas. That's how that brings value. All I did was get in there and provoke some thought.
You certainly provoked something.
Well, there was
I chose
a
not.
lot, but
I added one sentence to that, and then I moved back to my calendar.
Anyway, the bottom line is that I didn't offend anybody, but I made everybody think a little, and everybody that participated, we shared a lot of different perspectives on that same subject. And I think some people were like, wow, I never thought of it that way. So just making a thought-provoking post can bring value. If you help expand people's minds or their thoughts, if you're in the Circle app and you see somebody asking a question that you can answer, don't be afraid to answer it. That's called bringing value. Mike, were you like feeling something there?
Yeah, I was gonna maybe tap into that same vein. If all of those things that, are being recommended right now, don't work for you and they're not practical enough, there are people are coming onto these calls and stating their problems all the time. And if you're listening to those problems and a light's going off in your head saying, I think I could probably do something about that, that's your cue to go out and reach out to that person and collaborate with them on how to solve that. That's value in and of itself. So if you're drawing a blank, if you're not sure, you're coming to these calls, I don't know how to help out Pace. Like maybe that's just out of your reach for now. I don't know how to help Patrick or Gary or Effie. Like help the fellow person in the call when they state a problem, and you'll see those trends come up more and more frequently the more that you come to these calls, because a lot of the people, if they have a problem, it's likely a larger problem that needs to be solved amongst more than just that person. You're probably even experiencing it yourself. And when you collaborate and you think together, that's when the sum becomes greater than its parts, right? You're not just thinking on your own. You get to work with somebody else who you're actually contributing to their issues. And like Patrick said, the visionaries and the integrators working together get a lot further than each individual on their own. So be training yourself to listen for problems on these calls when they come up, and then just without thinking, go reach out to that person and say, hey, I don't know how maybe I could solve this problem for you right now, but I think we could talk about it and maybe figure something out together, and then go branch off with that person, and that's value created right there. And then bring that to the larger community. Listen for problems.
I'd like to
Yeah.
add to that if I may.
Please do.
Yeah.
If you're in a Zoom like this that has a chat, I think that if you have a question that comes to you in your mind about whatever is being discussed, you write it in the chat. Write it in the chat so that it becomes more than just in your brain. It's now in black and white. And I think people do read the chat. They should. And someone may respond And the thing is that if they don't respond, you should raise your hand. It takes a little bit of practice to do it, especially when we're talking about something like Zoom. You know, it's not exactly natural, but it does allow us to get together from all the different parts of the country. And if you participate in the Zoom, if you participate in the chats and you see who's there, and keep your camera on, unless you're doing something we don't want to see. You know, the point is that it's hard to talk.
Like eating with your mouth open.
Yeah, really. It's hard to
It
talk
happens.
to black screens. But if you allow yourself to at least be seen and don't worry about your environment. And this is coming from someone who, when before I moved in here, I was living in my daughter's basement because I had moved to Chicago. And I was in the basement with her beer fridge in the background. And every once in a while, they'd come down and get a beer, you know, or whatever. So I didn't let that stop me. I don't blur my background. I just, wherever I am, I am. I don't care. Wrinkles, cats, fridges. I'm not putting on a face for anyone. I'm just me. And if you don't like me, that's okay. You're probably smart. And if you do like me, hey, that's good too. But I do think that by entering things into the chat, it's the first step to finding your own voice. So
Very good.
try to interact in the chat and try to turn your camera on if you can.
So we talked a lot about networking and meeting people and how you can attract people to you. The other thing I thought was good to talk about today, and this is everybody, first of all, is everybody getting some value from this in the chat? Just yes or no, or, you know, is it, you can put yes or hell no.
You can put, I don't like Effie. That's
No,
okay.
you
too.
can't. I'll dump you from
We
the.
will definitely kick him from the meeting if they say
I'll
that.
karate chop you, as Pace would say. By the way, Mike, I've helped Pace a lot. Believe it or not, I've made suggestions to him over the years. Simple little suggestions that he's adopted that have made his. I recall a time when he was really frustrated with students complaining that they weren't succeeding, they couldn't get anywhere, they were lost, they felt abandoned, and Pace is creating thousands or hundreds and thousands of hours of training on different subjects, different Zooms, bringing in different people. How could you not be getting value? How can you not be? And it was killing him inside. It was eating him up because he wants so much. I mean, there's nobody more genuine. I hope all of you, in spending time with Pace in the Elephant Challenge, understand what kind of man he is, a person. He is such a giving person, and he takes it very personally when people are critical or more, not critical so much as disappointed in him or what he's delivering. And I wrote to him and I said, Pace, I think maybe let me bounce something off you. But I think we're at the point where we need a team that focuses on student success. Just as a dedicated, this is just one of the many suggestions that he's adopted, and the MSA was born within a couple of weeks. We had the MSA team. So, simple little offers of help. So one of the things I wanted to just, before we go into any deal specific stuff, was talk about rapport, building rapport. And number one thing you want to be leading with in building rapport is empathy.
Mm.
And Effie, we could rename you empathy just as easy as Effie, or what the empathy. You are extremely empathic. People forget to bring that with them to the business table. They'll do it socially, instinctively, but they forget that they need to bring that that quality to the business table to work with them. So when you're talking to sellers, when you're talking to other investors, be empathetic, and there are techniques you can use to show that empathy. One is always make it all about them. Make it all about them. Be interested in what's going on in the other person's life. Tune in to the problems that they're having and label them. I see you might be struggling with paying for your house. What's going on? Are you having, and I and you is very effective. So can we sometimes work that way, but be very, very tactful and deliberate with your choice of pronouns when you're talking to people. That can help. Effie's shaking her head. I think you
Yep.
you do this instinctively because I've watched you. Right? Everybody get this?
I think it partly comes from having been a teacher.
That's it.
And also having been a mom.
And I
and
didn't,
also-
well, mom skills definitely,
Yeah,
but
mom skills.
teachers, that's a transformative thing.
Yeah.
How long were you a
And-
teacher?
Oh, well, God, I hate to think of when I got my degree. I think they were just coming out with paper at that time.
Oh, okay. Back in the days of the mimeograph, yes,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
And I,
We would all take that, smell it.
oh my God, let's not think about that. But I will say that there is something very important about being able to understand a person's perspective.
Yeah.
At one time, I was teaching ESL to adults, English as a second language, to people who are 16 up to 72. And in the school, this was in Vancouver, and in the school, most of the teachers were Canadian and Canadian born. And I guess because I managed to get rid of my accent, they thought the same of me. But that wasn't the case. I had also had to learn English when I was a child. So, when I let them know that I completely understand, and I remember mixing up chicken and chicken. I remember that, and how I finally got it straight in my head. And that when they tell me that it's just too hard, I say bullshit. I had to learn it, and I had to get rid of my accent, because back then accents were considered, you're a foreigner. Now if you have an accent, we think, damn, they're educated. They've got one language more than me, at least. So it's easier now because we're more inclusive. But by letting them know that I had been through it and that they can't get that over on me, I had a lot of cred as a teacher. But I also, listened carefully to what the issues were, because sometimes they were greater than the surface showed. So yeah, if you take the time to listen, I think that goes a long way. I'd also like to say one more thing about getting out there. Don't be afraid to be uncomfortable. Pace is a fantastic mentor. He's a huge giver, and he likes to make us uncomfortable. Because when you're uncomfortable, that's when you're learning. If you're comfortable, well, that's it. There's nothing really going on. But if you're at odds with something and still being forced to do it, then you're learning, which is one of the reasons that he started that, talk to 50 people project forward. That's why he's making so many of us get out and do podcasts and come to Zooms and help each other. It doesn't come naturally. And I had a huge problem about my face. I still do, but I don't like to look at myself. But I've learned to make fun of it instead. Like, I have this nose that's just so freaking long, it could trip 6 people as they walk by.
I'm not turning to the side because you're going to laugh.
Effie, what nationality are you?
I have 3 citizenships. I've got Canadian, American, and I was born in Greece.
I couldn't figure it out. My
Yeah.
mom's from Las Palmas, Gran Canaria, And I had the same problem. I screwed up all my language all the time
That
because
is
she
Well-
didn't speak
right?
English.
Yeah, well, the thing is that if you can learn to make fun out of yourself, then you don't worry about other people. And you know, I said to Pace, I'm not getting on no YouTube. You know, I ain't doing that. You can stand on your head. And then he told me why. And I was like, all right. And over time, I've gotten more used to it. I don't love it, but I do have a podcast. I do Zooms regularly, and I'm growing, and I'm still uncomfortable, which tells me I've got a long ways to go. And that's fine. And I just try not to look at myself. But I think you should get used to being a little uncomfortable. If you're too comfortable, then you're probably living at home, not paying rent, living off your parents, and never really care about what you're going to, your future. You know, it's just going to come to you. I call that a loser. Anyways, just be uncomfortable, at least a bit.
So one last thing, when you're working with people, especially when you're dealing with seller objections or objections from people, there's some real subtle differences in the way you can phrase things that will make a significant impact. Like getting permission rather than going into trying to solve a problem. So, you know, a simple adjustment of a phrase like, can I make a suggestion? That's more likely to put somebody on the defensive. Can I make a suggestion? And a simple little tweak to that statement, like, may I bounce something off of you? Now, who's vulnerable in that? Think about, can I make a suggestion? You're putting them in a vulnerable potential defensive position, where if I go, would you mind if I bounce something off you?
Yeah.
I'm asking permission, and I'm going to get explicit permission. So rather than just addressing head on the objection that the person's saying, get permission to have a conversation. Again, you know, it expresses empathy, and these are things that people are really good at building rapport do. They think really careful about how they're going to phrase the next phrase. So, and I'll just give you a quick story. I have a listing in Pasadena, California, and I have a seller. She's amazing, accomplished woman, published author, PhD, psychologist. And, when I went to look at her building, as a realtor, I was just looking at the building, and I looked at her and said, Carrie, you put so much love in this building. Are you really ready to let it go? And she was so blown away with my just asking that question that, and in the end, she wrote, I did get the listing, but she wrote me this lovely letter about how different I was than all the other realtors she spoke to there, because they're all giving their presentation for the listing. We're going to do this for you. We're going to do that for you. And you know what I did for her? I listened. And I got her talking, and I asked the right questions to find out where's your head at? And yesterday, I had a follow-up with her because I'm looking at the market statistics, and I'm realizing that her property, because it's vacant and it was her business and it's beautiful. She did a high-end remodel on this office, a little complex, but at the moment it's not generating any revenue. So it's hard to give an investor a revenue story. And otherwise we're looking for that unicorn buyer, the next Carrie, who wants to move, that wants to fall in love with that little Shangri-La she built. I mean, this is gorgeous space. Plus there's outdoor space. You walk in here and you're like, I could live here. we're talking about office, right? Commercial space. I could live here. I'll move in. I'll add a shower to the bathroom. I'll live here because they're handicapped bathrooms, of course. But it's it was once a house. But yesterday, when I had this conversation with her, I wanted to try to broach the subject of seller financing. And when I mentioned it, she reacted really strongly against it. And she said, well, finally, when I got her calmed down about it, she said, well, I'll pray on it. And I said, well, Carrie, there's got to be a reason why you and I were connected in such an unlikely way. And, I just planted a seed. And I think that, I'm going to be able to follow up with her, but empathy people, rapport skills, always focus on, make it about them, not you. No,
Yeah.
it's not your agenda. It's not the deal you want to make. It's what's right for that person. Make it about them. So good. We're only 4 minutes past 4. We try to finish up at 4:30. And I think we beat the whole relationship stuff. Unless somebody has a specific question about relationship building, networking.
Let me jump in real fast, Gary. I just want to
Sure.
add one thing to button up this, because guys, write this down. Sit up in your chair right now, take a deep breath, pay attention. So what I'm about to say is going to make you a lot of money. I've been teaching sales for over 20 years. If you do not have rapport, you have nothing. I'm going to repeat that. If you do not have rapport, you have nothing. Okay? Rapport can be dissected. It's composed of 2 parts, interest and empathy. Interest should be simple for you guys. Most of you guys are interested in something. Try to be interested in who you're talking to. That's the part. And that will lead into empathy. Now, most of what Gary and Effie have talked about today is what we know as empathy. Feeling, right? Feeling for somebody, understanding where they're coming from. But empathy is also something else. And it's what you guys have been doing in the chat. And you might have not even noticed it, right? She brought up ESL and somebody in the chat was like, oh, my older siblings were ESL, right? Or I'm from Greece. Somebody in the chat, oh, I'm from Greece. Guys, that is also empathy. Empathy is reciprocation, right? It's mirroring what somebody has said in the conversation so that they understand that you feel how they feel. That is empathy. Okay, guys? Interest will bleed into empathy in your conversations. And if you can do that in the conversations that you're having with networking and with sales, you're going to get a lot more done in your business. All right, guys. So from that, I'm hoping that you have derived some insights and you're going to start taking actions on those ideas in your conversations with people that you're networking with and in the sales conversations. All right. All right. Do you want to open it up to Q&A, Gary?
Yeah. Well, just remember, everything we talked about today is useful in every aspect of your life, not just business.
Right.
Right. So, all right. Does anybody have questions they want to ask? You can ask on this topic or any other topic. We'll just open the floor now. And I'd really like to thank Effie for being here with us. It's so kind of you.
Give Effie some love in the chat, guys.
Oh, thank you.
And again,
My
wish
pleasure.
Patrick a happy birthday. Patrick turned
Yes.
40 today. We won't all sing happy birthday to him. But
We can keep the number to ourselves, guys. Let's keep that number at.
you spilled it.
I'm proud of the fact that I'm 69, over 69.
Nice. Love it.
3
All right, guys.
days.
I get a million DMs every day. If you don't
A
have
lot more.
questions, something's wrong. What do you got for us? Cindy's yawning. Uh-oh.
Kalila
Sorry.
returns to the stage.
All right, we got some
yes,
hands in. Hey, what's up?
First, I want to say I appreciate the in-depth conversation about rapport. It's definitely something that I think all of us can take into consideration when we're trying to network with others. Just some of the small things to show that the human side of you, and you're not all about just a transaction conversation and go on to the next. So I really do appreciate that.
Love it.
My question was, I'm actually in the middle of my possible first deal. This is a owner finance deal. It's a single family rental or whatnot. And I was actually talking to a sub-2 leader, actually trying to help me in negotiating the property or whatnot with the agent. But I'm not sure what happened with the particular person I was working with, but I haven't been able to get in touch with them via email or phone call or anything. So I'm kind of in a situation where with the agent, they want to kind of move forward and to continue negotiating. And I want to see if I can wrap the deal up. So that's kind of where I am. I can submit this to you guys or whatnot to do a JV with, because I'm very open to that. And I am a newbie, so I'm willing to roll my sleeves up and learn, do whatever I need to do to understand the process of actually wrapping up a deal. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there and see what should I do or what can I do.
So let me just clarify, the person that was helping you with this deal was another elephant leader, or were they a sub-2 student?
They were, I guess they're considered a leader. So they host, they own the Zoom, some Zoom hosts. They're like a Zoom host every now and then on certain.
Okay, can you do me a favor and shoot me a message on Circle with who that person is? We don't have to mention it here. And then what I'll do is I'll reach out to them personally to make sure that they're no longer working the lead. If they are, I'll make sure that they expedite the communication between you two. If they're no longer working it, I'll jump in and help you.
Okay, no
That sound
problem.
good?
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Of course, 100%. Go ahead and hit me up on Circle right now, and then I'll take care of it for you.
That was a good answer, Patrick.
Yep.
Is it Dina?
Oh, yes. Hello.
Hey, Dina.
Thanks for all the inspiration tonight. That was wonderful.
I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah. I actually am coming from when we were talking to realtors. I'm really struggling getting through the assistant. I can't seem to get through this guy's assistant to actually talk to him about a property. And so I've called, she's taken 2 messages, and now he's out of town. But I don't know what else to say to her. So I was hoping for, like,
Is she also an agent, or she's?
She is not. I asked her that. I was actually talking about the property, and she's all, well, I can help you. And I said, oh, great. It's been on the market for 89 days. Can you tell me a little about that? And she's all, tell you about what? And I asked her, are you an agent? She goes, no, I'm just his assistant. I'm like, okay, well, is there any way like I can just leave a message for him? Can I get a number? Well, no. What do you need? And I'm like, okay, well, is it vacant? Are they living in it? Like, and I got just a little bit, and I'm like, yeah, is there any way I can just leave a message? So I'm not sure. Do I just cut bait, or do I keep?
I can give you my take on it and how I operate. So I use Pareto's principle in everything that I do, the 80-20. Right. And if you make 100 phone calls, 20% of the agents that you're going to talk to understand what you're trying to do.
Okay.
4% of them are going to be VIP agents. Okay. You break it 80-20, you take the 20, you take the 20% of the 20, you got 4. Right. Mm-hmm. And so what I tell my team members, if there's an agent that is difficult to work with, is that in line with what our business model looks like? The answer is no.
Absolutely
right.
not.
So you have a couple avenues then, if that's the perspective that you're going to be using to run your business. You can go around them, or you can keep pushing to try to go through them, right? And those are really your only options. Or the last one is you can move on, right? So I've dealt with this actually. I actually called an agent one time when I was actually making calls in the business, and they had a VA from the Philippines. Mm-hmm. And that was the gatekeeper, right? And this VA, by the way, I don't have anything against VAs. I think VAs are awesome. They typically work harder than Americans, but zero information, right? Zero help. And it was a waste of my time. And so for me, I was just like, I'm not doing this. And I told the VA, look, I'm a serious buyer. You can have the agent call me. If they don't, then I'm going to move on. And that's the exact message that I would like you to hand to them. And if, I work with agents primarily, and I want nothing more than to get agents paid.
hmm
On my creative deals, I offer them the seller side commission, full commission. Always. I don't ever try to negotiate their commission. On our cash creative deals, if it's an off-market listing and it comes from them, I'll give them 7.5 points. I don't care, as long as it pencils for us. So if they make it hard for me to work with them, with all that being said, I have no problem going around them.
Okay, thank
Hey,
you
just
so
so
much.
you know, Dina,
Yeah.
I run into the same thing and I'm an agent,
Mhm.
right? So don't, take it personally. Some of them are
Oh,
a-holes,
Yeah, no, I didn't take it
can't-
personal. I'd just like to actually talk to him.
Yeah.
How did he
Yeah.
even
Call
know
the-
she's calling him though?
So
I
what,
mean,
I mean, I've left messages, I called the cell phone and they just don't call you back. I don't know how they sell houses. Hey, it's one of Pace's things, I answer my phone
Mhm.
and I don't know who's calling, but that's what you do when you're serious about business. So I
Right.
may have to, hang up on a few people or trying to sell me something or being
Mhm.
rude or, but how is it that so to Patrick's point, is this really somebody you want to do business with? They're
Right,
just
yeah.
hard to talk to before you even get in, a foot in the door. They're this difficult to deal with. Who wants to deal with them?
Yeah.
Pity their customer, pity their seller that chose them. I guess they can be charming once in a while, but they're certainly not charming the public, right? So yeah, move on.
Okay. All
I
right.
say I'm with Patrick. Move
Okay.
on. And Patrick you weren't like that at the beginning. He would,
Right.
no, it took him a while to finally get to
Right.
that point. You know
Yeah.
what? This is the way I do business. These are the type of people I want to do business with.
Mhm.
These are the behaviors I expect when I'm doing business with people. And if they don't conform to that, then we're not a match. Right?
Right.
Well, and I actually have a realtor that I am connected with in Vegas who is a part of, like, he is into creative financing. And so, every once in a while he'll send me something.
So
And
invest
so
your
I'll-
time with people like that.
Right.
Yep.
And so
Mhm.
I'm hearing, Patrick, that I should put that in for you to look at then if he's sending me.
100% of buying in Vegas.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. I'll put those in for you.
Yeah, fantastic.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thanks for joining us.
It was a pleasure, Dina. Thanks. And Ty is up.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, happy birthday, old man. I
Hey,
can say that. So,
Oh man, notice he
Ooh, he
got
comes
that.
with digs. I love it.
All right, take $100 off his first check.
I think Ty feels safe because he's on a Zoom.
there we go. There we go. Not in hand's reach. So I've been working through the list. I've talked to a couple of realtors that are willing to kind of hear what, or they were willing to meet and talk about terms and things like that. So how do I know, this is a stupid question, but how do I know, is that point when they're ready to have a conversation, do I submit it as a lead in the opt-in form?
So are you talking specifically about creative?
That's what I'm not sure of. So I'm just working my way through the list, and I'm following the script.
Okay.
And I'm having that conversation and then saying that, hey, someone from my team will reach out to you to talk further details about numbers and terms. So that's as far as I've taken it, and they're willing to have that conversation, but I don't think I know enough about whether to judge whether it should be a creative deal or a cash deal or whatever the strategy is.
Yeah, so the list that we provided you should be all creative deals because we've filtered them based on that criteria that we're actually searching for.
Okay.
And so really what we're looking for is motivation. And this is more of a heuristic mindset. Like you have to kind of read through the lines to figure out, is this person truly motivated or not? It's not like 1 + 1 = 2, right? So if they're, standoffish, abrasive, if you mention assuming a loan and they're like, oh no, we're not doing any of that, and you use the rebuttals and they still shut you down, then obviously they're not motivated. But if you go through the script and you say, we want to assume the loan, pay out equity, pay your commission at all closing, and they're like, yeah, we might be open to that, then that's a motivated lead.
Got it.
And
Yeah.
then that's when you want to submit them.
Gotcha. Okay, because that's where I guess I'm a little lost in understanding what to offer how to define what to offer in that context. So like, what does creative actually mean for their situation? I have the motivation of why they want to sell, but I guess I don't have the motivation of what type of deal that they want to do, right? Or whether it's a creative or what the numbers are around the creative deal. So how do I figure that part out?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we're going to be covering that in our Thursday meetings. If you guys, Mike, can you do me a favor and put the opt-in link in the chat one more time for us? In this link, once you opt in, you will be redirected to a resource page. On that resource page, you can upload your conversations that you've recorded. If you do that, we're going to give you feedback, number one. Number two, we're going to consider you an action taker, which will get you access to our Thursday action taker meetings, where we're going to go into deep diving into how to look at these deals, underwrite them, negotiate them at a high level. We're going to talk about the transactions themselves. So if you want to become a legitimate investor, guys, you must first do the one thing that's going to get you all the way, and that's take action, right? So record those calls for us so we can give you feedback. Now, if you read the script, you'll see that we explain to them that we're going to pay their equity out and assume the loan and pay all closing costs. So whatever the case may be, whatever the numbers look like, that's the offer. And so if they ask you, well, what specifically, how much money are you specifically offering us? You just say something like, well, I'm actually not authorized to do that. However, the partner that I work for is, and I would love to get him on your calendar. When are you generally available? He'll give you a call.
Okay. Yeah, I think I missed the point that these were properties that script worked for one for one. All right.
Yeah. So guys,
in the spreadsheet, but I'll upload them to that site.
Yeah. And so for clarity, guys, you have two lists. You have one that is vacant properties that are, they're vacant. So there's some type of hybrid situation where there is a low interest rate on the note, regardless of what that note is owed. And then you have low equity properties that are on market. Okay. So those are the two targets that you guys are going after.
Does everybody have a link to the list?
I just posted the opt-in, and that'll lead you to the resources page, but you need to fill out the form first before you get to that. The lists are posted there.
Yeah, I thought somebody asking where that was.
Look through the script, and I created flashcards for you in Quizlet. Go through the flashcards, guys, because a lot of the common questions that you're going to get on these calls are in those cards. And I could literally, like, those cards alone are worth a couple $1,000s. And I'm giving those to you.
Just a couple thousand?
Well, it's going to make you a lot.
It must be worth 30 grand. No, if it's worth them. No.
We could probably pad that number, right? All right, Ty, does that answer your question, brother?
It does. And one quick question. If we have questions between the Zooms, what's the best way? Submit them to the Circle channel? Is that the best?
Yeah, hit me up. Just DM me on Circle.
Okay, thanks.
Can I ask a question before he leaves? Is there a way that you can kind of give us an introduction of how, and this is to, is it Mike? No, the person that was on the Zoom meeting. Is there possibly you can like go through like how you approached that? Like what did you read on that script? Like how you went about it? Is there a way that you can kind of give us a little example?
I'm not sure I understand your question.
The other individual that you were just talking to.
Yeah, I think I know where you're coming from. It's because I struggle with the same thing as, you don't want to read the script verbatim. So what in the script do you use to kind of move the conversation along? I did struggle with that. And so I typed in notes into my script, and then I kind of got prepared on what specific about the property. I could share those notes. I actually uploaded them to the spreadsheet as well, or a link to it at least.
Thank you.
So yeah, I don't know if they're right though. That's the thing. It's just I don't know anything about real estate. This is day 3 for me. So I'm just trying to figure it out as I go. So I don't know if I'm the best
Way to take action, Ty.
You're incredible, dude. I'm serious. That's insane, guys. Do you hear that? He's 3 days in and he's already taking action, doing calls. That is what you have to do, guys. You have to jump in and make mistakes. Okay, you don't have to know everything. You don't have to be perfect. So in a lot of these calls, we talk about the 5 pillars. The 5 pillars is the structure of every sales conversation that you're going to have. If you ask the general condition of a home, that's going to open up a conversation. Whoever's on the other end of that phone is going to start talking. Great. They might give you a couple opportunities to build rapport in there. Fantastic. And then you just follow those bullet points. The 5 pillars, guys.
Is it not? Is it not? What?
Yes, and
Not?
hello, Gary. Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me? Hello.
We got you, buddy.
First of all, hi everybody, and I'd like to thank you, Gary, Patrick, and Effie for all the great advices. I used to struggle with the meaning of rapport, and now you teach me how, like, the meaning of rapport, just simple interest and empathy. That's very simple. It's not like what's your football, what's your game, what's you like. It's not so much about that. It's about empathy. So thank you. And I have one question. I made an effort to make calls, at least 10 agents a day. So today I called 10 people, and because I have a full-time job, so I have to wake up early in the morning to call people in Florida. So I wake up at about 5 o'clock and I started calling people there before I start working. So I use these the script and the flashcards here. I feel very confident because of the flashcards. And so I was not afraid of when I talk to agents. And I talked to one agent this morning, and he said that the seller would like to move to Florida, I mean to California from Florida, and they are open to was assuming, and the house pretty new, and about 900,000, something like that. I forgot. The area is Miami. So I told them that I will bring this information to my team. So I'd like to know what's next.
Guys, give Nat some love in the chat. Did you see this, guys? Are you guys witnessing this right now? He just got a motivated lead. Give him some love in the chat, guys. Good for you.
Good work, Nat.
Yeah, that's amazing. Mike, can you do me a favor? Can you put that link in the chat so he can submit his lead?
Sure thing.
So yeah, we're gonna put a link in the chat. And guys, so for the resource page and the submission form, I would bookmark those links, guys, on your computer so that you can access them. But go ahead and enter the information inside of that form. Okay. And like I mentioned before, guys, it's really important that you know that you have either PropStream or what's the other one, batch leads, so that we can see, so you know what is owed on the mortgage. All right, guys. So if you don't have one of those programs, make sure that you guys do get it. Squad up, share each other's credentials. Don't tell anybody you did that, but do it. Okay, so he'll give you the link right now, and then just go and enter all the information in, and we'll take it from there.
Yes, and have another question.
Sure.
I got some agents that sent me like every day like a link, and it shows about sellers that are open to seller financing. So every day I have a list of that. So I should call them first, or what should I do? Right now I have a few of them right now.
In my experience, if they're offering seller finance, the terms are probably horrible.
Okay.
But what I would ask them is that's great. Okay, seller finance, what are the terms? And if it's over a 10% entry fee, that immediately will kill most of the deals. But it all really just depends. You would want them to disclose what the terms are before you start the conversation. And then if you send that over to me, I can kind of give you some feedback as to if their opportunities are, and if why they're not.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Hey, good job taking
Good
action.
job.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Kayon?
How do you pronounce your name?
Kayon. Ryan with crayon. Yeah, Kaon rhymes
I
with
was
crayon.
right. I was right.
Yeah, you got it, Gary. One of the select few that gets it on the first try.
Nice.
Thanks guys for having this. I appreciate your time and all your value. So since we're on the part of networking, I do a lot of networking in the community. I talk to people and see what I can help and stuff like that. So from this meeting, what I could say, what I have to offer is, so I study, practice, and teach financial literacy. And so I can help in that way. I'm a problem solver, a solution finder. And my goal, what I want to do is I want to buy and hold. Right now I'm wholesaling, doing the elephant challenge, getting the basics. I buy and hold. I want to buy and hold, and I want to learn how to gator. And I read Pace's book, so I'm really familiar with creative financing and stuff like that. So saying that, to segue into this, I had met a lady. So she has like two things going on. One, I want to know, so she has a property in Dubai, like 10 million square feet. And if I want to be like a part of that deal, if I want to like get that land or whatever, because I think it's a development land, how can I go about moving forward with that deal that she has or that offer that she has?
So first of all,
Is this in Dubai?
Yeah, it's in Dubai.
Look,
I got the information.
real estate in other countries is a very different animal.
Okay.
So, make sure you educate yourself thoroughly before you go do something like that. Canada right now is not allowing foreign ownership of property. They just put a ban in. So don't let somebody sell you something and send them money for something you're not allowed to have.
Wait,
Not only that, but if anything goes wrong, you have to go to that jurisdiction to represent yourself. And almost always when someone is talking about outside of our borders, it's one of the signs of a scam. Be very careful.
Yeah. I
so
wasn't
you're
going to
telling
do
me
anything.
I wasn't supposed to wire the money to the Nigerian prince?
No, it's not.
No,
That's not
he's
happening.
the
I'm not doing
Saudi
anything.
prince, the Saudi prince,
Got
where
it.
they cut off your hands if you swear.
So I've said this probably on every
this
meeting.
is not a beat up K-On session.
No. Listen.
No, but I'm worried for him.
It's all love here, right? And Keon, so I've had this conversation probably on every single Zoom because this is a very common question. And I get people hitting me up in my DMs as well. And they say, hey, I got this specialized property, multifamily, 50 units, this and that. And I'm like, cool, how many deals have you done? And they're like, this is my first one. And I'm like, okay, let's dial it back. Let's get consistent revenue going in your business. And then you can get crazy with it. Even in my business, dude, like we're closing multiple transactions every month, but I'll have one of my team members come to me and they're like, hey, I got maybe this seller finance deal. Or like one of them is like, hey, I drove by this house and it looks like maybe we can go direct to seller. And I tell them, are we currently doing that in our business? Yes or no? And they go, well, no. And I'm like, is it an opportunity? Maybe. But if we don't do more of what's working, we're not going to make more. Does that make sense? So every entrepreneur intrinsically inside of them has this natural thing where they see all of these shiny objects and they want to do and start all these projects. That's what real entrepreneurs operate like. But the ones that are extremely successful, they focus on one of those things, right? So that would be my advice to you. If you really want to have a breakthrough in real estate, it's the focus. And if it's real estate in Dubai, then focus only on real estate in Dubai. You know what I mean? By the way,
I become an expert in real estate in Dubai. Dubai. Look,
right now my market is in Arizona.
Are you, Keon? Are you just looking for an excuse to go there? Because it is. I've looked at pictures of that city, and it's like, damn, I want to experience that, right? But it's a remarkably beautiful, innovative landscape, but stick with what works. Hey, we're running over. Do we want to start being a little more disciplined about ending these on time?
We do. So let's get to a few last questions so that we can help everybody.
Okay, Mario and Gloria are the last ones, and Go, take it away, Glory.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us, bro.
Thanks, Kayon.
Third thing.
Hey, you gotta unmute, my dear. You are talking to nobody. Unmute yourself.
Okay,
There you go.
here I am. Okay, so thank you for the session. I loved what was going on, what you talked about and everything. And hi, Effie. I met you in the prior Zooms.
Where in
but-
New York are you from?
Oh, I'm in Connecticut.
Connecticut. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I won't hold that against you.
Okay, but I used to be in the Bronx. I just moved to Connecticut.
The Bronx. My whole family's from the Bronx.
I know the
It's
Bronx. like the
true.
back of my
I
hand.
spent a lot of time 172nd Street in the Bronx. Was it
Yes.
272nd Street? Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was right up there by Gun Hill Road. So to make this very short, did your list, Patrick. I was working on the North Carolina in Concord and came across this first one, call that I called to the real estate, and it was a VA. He has a VA loan. Are we doing VA loans?
100%. My last step too was a VA loan.
Okay, so then I'll get back and talk to him. Because what I said to him is we could work out, and I was trying to explain to him, but I told him that I would have my partners explain to him what was going on. It's a beautiful house. He said that the loan was a VA loan and that I asked him, could we do subject to word? He said he doesn't think so. I said, but you need my partners to talk to you about it.
Okay, great. Yeah. As long as they're open to the idea, then we consider that motivation.
Okay.
Yeah. And guys, just to give you something that's helpful, we've said this before on Zooms, the most important pillar out of the 5 is motivation, because that tells us, are we going to be able to move the needle here on getting this transaction to the finish line? And what exit strategy truly is in front of us? What does the seller need to do? Do they need to sell? Do they want to sell? Right? So motivation is super important. So make sure you unpack that on the calls, guys. And that's going to really help you focus your energy on deals that will eventually close.
Thank you.
Hey, good job, Gloria, taking action.
Thanks, Flora.
Oh, I'm an
Thanks,
action
Gloria.
taker.
Oh, well, then we're kindred spirits. Ario, what's up, man?
Hey, how you doing? Thank you all. Thank you all. I appreciate all the time that you and the effort that you guys are taking here. My question was, Patrick, when you mentioned that you guys, I guess, primarily work with an agent reach out. And so my question is, what's the criteria that you're looking for or that you're pulling in order to call the agents? Is it, are you looking at ARVs? Are you looking for days on market? Is it the equity? Is it, what are you looking for?
In terms of how are we identifying the context in which we're reaching out to?
Mm-hmm.
That's a fantastic question. So in the beginning, we were doing what I would refer to as spray and pray, right? Which is what most people are doing, right? And so we are very big on metrics in our business. And what we've discovered after texting 10,000 agents blindly, and I say blindly because we were pulling data from brokerages and texting cell phones.
And let me just stop you real quick. The reason I'm asking is because I'm an agent as well. And so I get text messages. I get, I get all those. So that's why I was asking.
100%. Yeah. And so, yeah, what we found was out of the 10,000 that we texted with the intention of getting them on the phone immediately, 3% of them said, okay, I'll get on the phone with you. And 1% of them actually presented opportunities to us, right? So we learned really quick by looking at our average talk time that wasn't a strategy that was going to put us on the trajectory that we wanted to go on. So what we ended up starting to do, and this is a little bit more advanced with MLS access, we would search the agent remarks, and we were searching keywords for fixers and off market. Because as you may already know, there are agents most agents are trained retail, right? That's what they get into, and they have a retail mindset. And there are some agents who understand investing and they have an investment mindset. And the difference between the two is everything with a business that's based in wholesale. So that's really what we're doing. We're trying to identify those agents who understand the investment world and who are willing to work with us. And then we're compiling those agents in our business, and we have them on an ongoing outreach program. So that's basically how we find most of the agents. The other ones are on market or coming soons. We've had more, well, I don't know. I don't actually have the data on that. I have to look at the numbers, but it seems lately that coming soons are more of an opportunity for us because we can get to them preemptively before they go on market and say, I'll give you a cash deal now before you go on market. And if they take it, great. If they don't, then we're no longer interested.
Yep. So those are for cash offers. What about the, you said the
creative
that are active on the MLS? I mean, is there certain days? Are you doing days on market or?
Yeah. So what we've found in our market, and I'm sure this applies to most markets, is that when it comes to fixers, we're talking specifically about fixers, yeah?
Correct.
Okay. When it comes specifically to fixers, what we found is if the seller is truly motivated, it's going to go under contract within 14 days, maybe even sooner, depending upon the market. So we set filters for 7 days or less. And generally my team will call within, within a few hours of it going online. And the reason that is that we want the listing agent to represent us on the deal. So we want to be first. We want to strike when the iron's hot, and that's in the very beginning. In the beginning, we used to go after all days on market, and now if an agent brings me an opportunity, it's on market, it's not their listing, and it's over 14 days old, I won't even look at it. I'll tell them it's not an opportunity, and they'll be like, "How do you know that?" And I'll just say, "Metrics, baby."
Okay. And these are primarily you guys are doing just cash out or like fix and flip, or are you guys doing subject to or creative on those?
So in the business that I'm running in California, we are only doing cash deals.
Okay.
That's it. Occasionally, we'll get an opportunity and it just doesn't make sense for cash and it might turn into a creative deal. But I've specifically told my team not to focus on that and to send me those deals and keep looking for cash deals.
Okay, so then at that point you either wholesale or wholesale them, or do you
the cash deals or the creative deals?
The cash deals.
Always wholesale.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I was thinking. Okay. Cool. All right. Thank you. I appreciate you all. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Great questions, Mario. Thanks for joining us.
Mario. Make sure you come back.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm curious, Mario, what market are you in?
I'm in the Dallas market.
Dallas, love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so that was the last call. I want to thank again Effie for joining us and sharing her wisdom. Hope you enjoyed hanging with our little crowd here today.
I sure did.
Is this your first time hanging with a bunch of baby elephants?
No.
No, you've done it before, huh? Okay.
Love it.
All right.
Thanks.
And happy birthday again, Patrick.
Yes, happy birthday, Patrick.
You should really, really enjoy this one because it's only going to come along once every lifetime. So have fun with it.
I will. Thank you very much.
Don't hold out for that next lifetime. You never know when that's going to happen. All right, guys. Thank you all. We'll see you tomorrow.
Oh, no, not tomorrow because we're doing the next Thursday. Yeah. So we'll see
Thursday. So Monday. Monday's the next meeting at 3:00 Pacific. See you then.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.